everyone. I'm in the garage today. This is when I'm not out gardening. I'm probably in here working on this. And this is a 94 Nissan Silvia. I bought this a couple of years ago from an importer, and it was cheaper because the paint's pretty crappy, but it's got new rims. But what I'm doing is I'm changing out the turbo, the outlet pipe, and the manifold. And this is what I'm changing it to. It's a Garrett 2871 turbo. It's essentially the same size, like the same size impeller and the housing and all that, but it's got upgraded bearings. I think the outlet is bigger. Not sure, but it's supposed to be a direct bolt-on upgrade. Of course, an ISR manifold to help flow. And this is a huge part too. I won't be able to show you on the other one. Not the inside anyways, but that's almost a 90-degree angle. This one obviously is less steep, less sharp, less sudden. But from the inside, it's almost a direct flow, so that'll loosen the amount of restriction in the exhaust and help the turbo spool up faster, easier. And I spent about 3 hours the other day doing this, just taking it all out. I have new oil lines and coolant lines for it. The crappy part, of course, is the downpipe. There's a bolt that's like impossible to get out when it's in the car. One, because it's rusted, but because you need a universal or a flexi socket. And I broke 2 universals doing it. So I'm going to take that off with a wrench here after I spray some stuff on it. Then I need to take that off, and then I'm basically just putting all the new stuff attached to this. And I'll probably just put it all in all at once. It wasn't too difficult. And then I just attach it here, and I got new gaskets for everything. The reason why I did all this was, if you can see that bolt, I guess you can't see. So one of the major things that happens to these is when somebody needs to change the gasket, and they had an upgraded gasket on there. They just want to change the gasket and they put it back on. But one of these bolts, I wish it would focus better. Basically, when you start to attach the turbo to the manifold, one of those two of those studs actually get blocked off. So you have to keep some gap there and put the nuts on just a little bit as you kind of attach it, and then once it's already on there, you're good. What'll happen to a lot of people is they'll put it all on the studs, and they'll get the couple of nuts that'll go on, and they go, damn it, well, I don't want to take all this off and blah blah. So I think that's probably what happened. Another thing is, all this stuff, all these things that get torqued down are single use only. So that's supposed to be single use only, that's single use only. These studs, all that stuff is supposed to be single use only. They get torqued down, they get stretched, they become old, a lot of heat, etc. So a lot of these things, I don't replace everything because it's a little ridiculous to me, but I just put a little lock washer on everything that I have. So that's what I'll do with this, but of course all this will have new hardware. And what that part was right here. It looks like this design would actually allow you to put the nuts on without having to back anything off, and like you do with the stock one. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and I'll post this on my channel just to show that there's other things that I'm interested in. I'm not all about not using carbon or using gas or any of that stuff. It's okay to have toys and have fun and to be sustainable in every way that you can. So hope you don't judge me on the ugliness of the front end, but they'll probably be changing too. And also, I'll keep updating. I'll keep updates on this and show you what it sounds like when it's done. But that'll be on another video. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, maybe I lied. I figured I would just record the last chunks of this and just make one video. A couple things I wanted to point out was I'm going to be using the OE style exhaust manifold. I do have one of the fancy dandy multi-sheet exhaust gaskets, doesn't really matter. And then I'm replacing the gaskets on the turbo outlet, and then this is a downpipe, and it came with, I think you have to order it separately, but make sure you order new hardware, because these studs go into here, and then the nuts go on there, and then that'll be perfectly fine. Like I said, I'm going to attach all this together before putting it in the car. The big thing about this whole replacement was that outlet pipe to downpipe. That could be really annoying, but like I said, you can just remove those 2 bolts. You'll need 2 wrenches to do it, and that comes off. You just lift the whole thing out. The other hard part, other than this annoying thing and the coolant lines, but most everybody seems to get through that pretty easily, is these 2 bottom studs that are in here. If it doesn't come out, like this one, you have to attach 2 nuts on here, just like every other stud. Put 2 nuts on here and tighten them against each other, so you have 2 wrenches, and lock it on there, and then you'll grab them both as one to remove this, and try to spray whatever you can do in there to make sure that this just comes out and doesn't snap. Because having these new and fresh every time you change it is definitely worth it. Especially if you can have a stud, which is very nice that they're all studded. Only a couple of them came out because their nuts had seized on there. Now, if you want to put anti-seize on these 2, I would definitely advise doing that. Anti-seize for these other ones aren't that big of a deal, but if you already have the tube out, might as well do it. But those 2 bottom bolts are the hardest. Now, you'll need probably 2 different universals, one at the end with a short socket or a bandy socket, and then one up here, because you'll need some room to get around everything. But I'm probably just going to take that stud out and then put these 2 new studs in this way, and then I'm just gonna simply stack everything together and toss it in there. So we're back to the original plan of making this a part 2 or part 1 video, and then I'll do the second half, because these studs, I guess I never ordered, and then it come in the numerous bags of stuff that I ordered, and I am not going to be reusing those. I don't even want this whole thing. I don't even want to touch anymore. Now that I've got the coolant lines, these are coolant lines, and then this is the oil line. I did order, there's an oil line over there, right there. I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, these are, I had to bend, I think, one of them, kind of, but I didn't crimp anything, and I'm just going to reuse the brass gaskets that come with it. And they, as long as they're solid, and I'll make them tight so they shouldn't leak or anything like that. It will be annoying, yeah, we'll just say annoying, when I go to put it back in, because I'll be carrying all this extra weight. But I mean, I got it out, so I'll get it back in. It'll kind of actually just sit in the engine bay. Everything will be in there. I'll start to kind of get the manifold onto the studs while it's kind of hanging there, and then I'll be able to reach underneath and grab what I need to grab. So the manifold makes this whole job so much easier. The stock stuff was made by an engineer to get it to fit, but all this aftermarket stuff was designed for people to actually replace it. So if you were looking to make any sort of upgrade, of course catback exhaust is probably the first thing to do, but changing the manifold and this outlet pipe are just incredible. It makes the whole job so much easier. The hardest part of the whole thing, really, in my opinion, this whole change, the hardest part is getting it jacked up properly so you can get underneath, because it's all lowered and it's hard to get under, and you needed the right jack to get to it. And yeah, I had to jack it up from the corner to get one in, so that the rest of the car was jacked up enough so I could move the jack further back and get another jack stand in there. Yeah, it's the hardest part. The most annoying part is just jacking the thing up. So I will. Next one. Yeah, I'll see you on the next one. I'm not sure if that recorded, but I guess I need to order these studs. But I'm gonna put everything together, the manifold onto the turbo and the downpipe and outlet pipe and all that, and then I will. Well, everything but the outlet pipe and the downpipe because I don't have bolts for it. So I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.